Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Marianne. I live here in Canada with my husband and two kids ages 5 and 7, and I make videos on simplifying life through easy organization and decluttering. Today we are wrapping our Christmas gifts. So I'm going to start by just taking you with me as I wrap our family's gifts, and then at the end I'm going to give you like a few options and ideas for actual wrapping paper storage. So you can see I am starting by setting up our folding table. If you still fold presents on the floor, oh my gosh, a folding table has been a game changer. It's actually made it 10 times more enjoyable for me. So yeah, if you've been doing it on the floor, give this a shot. So I'm starting off today just by kind of reviewing. You know when you start a task, you're like, okay, what am I doing again? This is kind of where I was at here. I just opened our Christmas wrapping paper storage, which is this big green bag that holds all of our rolls. I'm just kind of like reviewing, like, what have we got? What am I doing? That sort of thing. Most of our wrapping paper, I know there's so many options. There are so many options for wrapping paper these days in terms of like reusable and, you know, like boxes and just so many like kind of environmentally friendly, that sort of thing, like using like fabric and tea towels and stuff. And I love, love, love the idea of those. We're not there yet. Oh, I wanted to show this to you quickly. So I see you have, I had a wrapping paper roll that I've already started. And this is just one of the kids' snap bracelets. And I stuck that on there to keep it in place, and it was magical. I've seen reels about that a million times, but I'd never done it till this year. So great. That was one that Leo, I think, just got from a birthday party, like a hockey one. And I used it on another roll as well. Anyway, little side tidbit. But yeah, in terms of actual wrapping paper, we are I'm old school. I just use rolls and gift bags and tissue paper. My rolls, all my wrapping paper, like actual rolls, I've pretty much all now thrifted, unless it's like been randomly gifted to me. But it is shocking. You can find wrapping paper at the thrift store like pretty much all year round. I pretty much always now stick with brown craft paper for when I'm getting anything new, because I love the look of it. I also love that I can like write right on it, so I can write a message on it, so I don't have to deal with a card. And I think it actually looks super cute, and you can add like ribbon to make it specific, and it works year round. That's what I love about it. But you can see I have a roll of actual Christmas paper, so I decided, you know what, it's Christmas. I am going to use this up because I'm not going to hang on to it for another 10 years just in case I need it. So let's use up our Christmas paper. Next, what I'm doing here is just setting up all of our gifts. So I'm just thinking, okay, like, what do I have? Putting everything into sections by person. How much do I have to wrap? What am I going to use for wrapping paper this year, basically? The stocking stuffers, as you know, if you do stocking stuffers, are kind of take up some space, and they're kind of like all over the place. We do not wrap our stocking stuffers, so I just put them off to the side, and then you'll see I put them into like each of them into plastic bags just to keep them sorted for Christmas Eve, and then I put them back into that tote at the end of this today when I'm doing this. Also with the stocking stuffers, like I said, I don't wrap them. However, someone else just mentioned to me, you know how when you're using wrapping paper and you have like scraps basically, of little wrapping paper, kind of when you're cutting into smaller sections, they use those scraps, instead of throwing them out, they use them to wrap their stocking stuffers, and I actually loved that idea. So we never as kids wrapped our stocking stuffers, which is why I don't probably, but who doesn't love opening more gifts? Like, I think it's kind of adds fun to it, even if you're just wrapping like a few of the like smaller items, or like the kind of more square items, I guess. Anyway, that was a little tidbit that someone shared with me on Instagram, and I love that idea. I also had a couple of reels that people shared with me on Instagram for like wrapping paper, what to do with the scraps, so you're just not tossing them in the garbage, and to make them to use like ribbon and stuff. I will try to share them in the description box below, so check those out, because there were actually like a few really good ideas. So like I said, these are the stocking stuffers. I'm not wrapping them this year, and I'm just putting them in little bags. I'm just taking some of the tags off and that, so I don't have to deal with it on Christmas Eve. But yeah, I'm putting those all separate, so I just kind of think straight and get those out of my way so I can focus on the actual gifts that I'm wrapping. And I know I sound like a broken record saying this, but definitely in terms of wrapping paper and gift wrap and all that stuff, the easiest way of storing it is just to have less and use what you have. So just use it up Don't get anything new if you don't need it, and be super mindful of what you're bringing and adding to your collection. And just don't keep, if you're not going to use it, do not keep it. So this is a great example. This little sheet of wrapping paper, it's cute, but for some reason, I honestly think a few years ago, my mom, like at the end of Christmas, just honestly was probably given free from something, and she's like, I'm not going to use this, but she gave it to me thinking I will use it, which is fine. But again, for a couple years, I'm just like, it's not part of a set, it's just like a loose piece of paper, but I'm also like, why am I not using this? So this year I just used it, wrapped a bunch of books with it, and it was perfect. So again, I just really suggest making it easy on yourself, using what you have, using up what you have. And if you're not going to use it and you've been hanging on to like a specific roll of paper or a kind of gift bag, a certain type of gift bag, is just letting it go, and or using it up or letting it go, passing it on to someone who will use it. So again, like when I talk about the scraps, those little pieces. So I do use them for making little tags, which I'll show you in a little bit. But I really wish I'd seen those reels before I'd wrapped this, started this wrapping, because I thought they're such great little ideas. And our little tape that I'm using here, another tip that we often do, usually when we're organizing for clients, our clients are usually have better little, more TLC with their systems than our own, but we usually have a pair of scissors and a thing of tape stored in with our wrapping paper and wrapping supplies as well. So that's always like a good little tip to do. But you'll see I have that little brown tape, and it's little masking tape that I got from our little local shop, Harlow Green. And I think, don't quote me on this, but I feel like it's like compostable. I think I can put it in the compost, so I'd have to check on that. But anyway, it's very cute little masking tape, but if it looks weird that I'm using it, that is why I'm using that there. And again, I'm pretty basic with my wrapping. I have like 2 big rolls of ribbon, this red one, and then I have a big white one that I actually keep upstairs in our party supplies, like with our balloons and stuff, because I use it when I'm hanging balloons for little kids' parties and stuff. So anyway, I have this red roll and the white one, and I just have been using it for probably 10 years, like not exaggerating. I've had it forever. And then like I mentioned, it's better on craft paper, but even on this one was fine, is I just use a black Sharpie and I write our little message on the front, and I don't have to get a card, I don't have to think about it. In some circumstances, obviously, for some like family members or the kids, they're going to make cards for their friends or cousins or whatever, grandparents. But in general, like if it's just like for a teenager or something, they don't really care about a card, they're just going to throw it out, or I hope they're going to throw it out. But anyway, I just write a little message on top, and then we're good to go. In this case, these were little books that we got for Scott's nieces. And we had little gift cards, so I just taped the gift cards to the front of the books. And then you can see I'm checking my phone, because I'm like, what book did I get for who? You know, when people send suggestions and you're like, I don't even know what I'm buying really. I'm just buying what they told me. Anyway, you can see I keep looking up too. I'm like trying to watch a movie. Have you guys watched The Holiday? It's on Netflix right now, here in Canada anyway. Oh my gosh, I've watched it a few times. It's one of my Christmas favorites now. It's so funny and so good. Anyway, but I do have a hard time concentrating on a TV when I'm doing something. Does anyone else love having a podcast on? I know certain people, like Scott, for example, loves having something on in the background. He always wants a sport or a video or a podcast in the background. And I'm like, I think I just have to concentrate on one thing at a time. I don't know what that's about, but anyway. Okay, so back to wrapping here. As I started saying earlier, and we're pretty traditional when it comes to wrapping paper. Like I said, I have this roll of red, which I think, again, I bought probably 5, 10. Oh, actually, I think I thrifted this. So yeah, I don't know because wrapping paper obviously goes straight into the garbage, it is not recyclable, and pretty much everyone knows that now. I do feel kind of guilty using it. It's not obviously ideal. However, I feel a bit better about it when I thrift it. That's what I tell myself. So there is a lot of people out there that I think, a lot of, say, seniors maybe, that when they're moving out of their homes, they have, rolls and rolls of wrapping paper that they end up just giving away and donating, and I just scoop those up and end up using them, and they work great. So I don't know if I would actually go and buy brand new wrapping paper at the store these days, knowing that it goes straight into the trash. However, I'm also hesitant to use some of these like newer ideas, like tea towels and fabric and stuff, because I guess I see it from this other side of people's homes where they struggle with clutter and they struggle with all these things coming into their home. So as soon as this item with this like new cloth bag or a new piece of fabric that comes into their house, and then they're kind of stuck and they have to find a home for it and they have to make a decision about it. So I struggle with that as well. And also obviously a little more storage and a little bit more of an investment. So that's where I'm at right now. I don't think there's a perfect system. I don't think there's like a right and wrong way to do it. Again, like stick to what works for you. Don't like stress too much about it, but that's sort of how we do it. Is I try to limit the waste just by thrifting our wrapping paper. And like I said, my favorite really is the craft paper, which I think is recyclable. And we write little messages on it so we don't have to deal with cards. And just like I'm doing right here. And yeah, like I find that works the best for us in our specific phase of life. Another idea I see a lot of people do, which like I think is very cute and I love the idea of, is using a different like type of wrapping paper per kid for like gifts, say from like Santa, for example. Like, so all of like the ones from Santa that are in purple go to your one child, and all the ones that are green go to another child, and so on and so on. And like, I think that idea is very cute and I love that idea, but I also feel like I can't commit to having like that much different types of wrapping paper and stuff like that. So if that's ever a struggle for you, if you're thinking like, man, I like doing this, I started it, but it's actually a lot of work, I feel you. And that's why I've never like jumped on that bandwagon. So I have avoided that altogether. Santa actually does not wrap the presents in our house, so all the gifts from him are not wrapped, and then anything that's wrapped is just from like mom and dad, so that's easy. You can see here, this is where I mentioned that I use the scraps. So for one of the couple of gifts I had to use a bag for, so I used like the wrapping paper, cut it in half, made a little tag from it, and I just put that onto the actual gift bag because I didn't want to waste the gift bag. I wanted to be able to reuse it, so I didn't want to write directly on it. So that's what I did there, and it's a good way to use scraps, and it reminds me of like my childhood from the 90s. Next, you can actually sort of see my mind and like what happens here. So I start kind of taking some bags out. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna maybe just like kind of sort these. I think the wrapping or the gift bags and the tissue just sort of got like mixed up. So I was like, I'll just sort that out. Maybe I'll categorize a few bags. That'll be like good for today, like not getting into it. And then like a few minutes, I put it back in and I'm like, why am I keeping all these bags? Like I can barely close this container. I don't use bags that much. Like I use them sometimes. They're handy to have for sure. I don't want to get rid of them completely, but why do I need, like 40 gift bags? Like this just isn't working for us. So you'll see I take them all back out. I categorize them by like birthday, small, large, Christmas, like not crazy, but just like a few different little categories. And then as I went through, I just went like, okay, this is like a wine bag, for example. I never put wine in bags. I just hand it to people if I'm gifting it with like maybe a ribbon on it. So I know I instantly can get rid of that. I know that, say, if I have like a certain size of general birthday ones that are all like the same size, I can get rid of like half of them, and I just choose the ones basically that I don't like as much. It's not like I don't overthink it, but just again, like if there's certain sizes that I happen to accumulate and I'm just like, I know I have flipped through this gift bag for 6 years and never used it, I know that's a sign I can get rid of it. Another big one is like, let's say you went through a phase of life where you're going to a lot of baby showers, for example, which I know a lot of people have gone through. And you're like, wow, I'm using like a baby shower bag 4 times recently, which is a lot. And then all of a sudden, okay, we're out of sort of the baby shower phase and you're only going to once in a while. You can probably let go of like some of those baby bags. In general, I love having the most general bags because then you're not tied to a specific you're not tied to a specific occasion. So I can gift like craft paper, for example, is why I love it. And same with like any plain colored bag I love that I can use for any occasion, basically. I think I ended up getting rid of like maybe a dozen gift bags or something. So I'm just going to take those to our local thrift shop, and I know that they'll be able to resell them. And I'm going to aim to get them there like this week so that they can turn them around and sell them during the Christmas season, so they don't have to hang around them or hang onto them for an entire full rest of the year. The other thing I get rid of like instantly. Things that I basically don't even allow in my gift wrap are glitter, or like sparkly tissue paper, like that, you know, where it gets everywhere. I honestly am shocked they still make that. Like, how is that not illegal? It is the worst stuff. Like, have you ever had this where it just instantly, you open one gift and all of a sudden, boom, it's like sprinkles are all of a sudden over your entire living room. Anyway, that kind of stuff, I give you full permission, encourage you to get rid of. If it's not making your life better, get it out. If you've already watched my video, I shared it last week of all of the gifts that we got the kids this year and that we got for everyone, and I shared like our budget and that kind of thing, and there were definitely some mixed reviews. Like, I was interested on the comments for that. A lot of people were like happy to see it and happy to see we were following a budget and thrifting and that kind of thing. A lot of our gifts were secondhand. If you haven't watched the video, I'll link it below. However, there were a lot of comments and like kind of just sort of comments, I guess, about basically that we spent, you know, more maybe on our parents and teachers, and we should be spending that more on the kids, which I found like super interesting, actually. At first, I was a little bit kind of hurt, and I thought, oh, dang, like I don't really agree, but I also am like, I like to see other people's feedback. I like to see how you guys do it, what's important to you. And it was good feedback, you know, like maybe we don't need to give as much to our parents. I will say we do it, like I mentioned in the video, because they do so much for us. And this is this kind of one time a year where we try to sort of like be generous and give them something that we know that they'll love and actually use. But anyway, I found that really interesting. If you haven't watched that video, go back. I'm always interested to see what other people's kind of take and views on that. Okay, and gifts back into our tote and back into the basement, into their hiding spot, and they are ready for Christmas Eve. Okay, so I am pretty much done my wrapping. Wrapping is done and it feels so good. The last thing I wanted to quickly talk about were some options for like the actual like organizing products, storage for your wrapping paper. So as I showed you, we have two like bins or storage bags. So we have our large bag, which holds like basically the wrapping paper. Like, that's why I have it, is it holds the like the long actual rolls. And then we have our small tote that holds the bags and tissue paper. We have organized a ton of wrapping paper in a ton of different houses. And I would say there's like no perfect one way to do it. It depends so much on your house, how much wrapping paper you have, how much you like wrapping paper. There's so many options. So what I like, my biggest suggestion is to use what you already own and what works for you. So as I already mentioned, having less is like the easiest way to keep things organized. The most popular, I guess, products we've used for clients' homes are like through the traditional tall, like hard shell totes. They hold the tall, long rolls. What I love about them is they keep it contained. I like that they're like tall, so you don't have to bend over to like get your rolls. I like that. You don't have to be on your hands and knees quite as much. And I think they're really great for people who have a lot of wrapping paper because they fit quite a few rolls. Like, I think they fit a dozen rolls or something. I mean, it depends on the size of your rolls. The cons of those is they're a little more expensive. Like, I feel like maybe here they're $36 or $40, something like that. Also, obviously, any adding plastic to the world is like not the best. And again, if you only have like a couple, 2 or 3 rolls, it's sometimes like not as functional. And I also find that unless you have only like a couple of gift bags, if you do a lot of gift bag wrapping too, having gift bags and tissue paper in that is not typically perfect because they'll like fall to the bottom and kind of get jammed down. The second most popular probably option we use is a shallow, long, basically it's called under the bed storage with a lid that kind of flips open like this. So anything long and shallow so it can fit a roll of wrapping paper. Things I love about those are you can typically put all of your gift wrap into one bin. So then you have like everything super central in one spot. So you can put the gift bags, you can put the tissue, your ribbons, everything. You can put your rolls all into this one tote, and we have done it multiple times for multiple clients, and it is one of my favorites. And if for some reason you decide, you get to a point of life and you're like, I am no longer wrapping presents, I don't need this much storage, it's an under the bed, it's a general all-purpose under the bed storage, so you can use it for basically anything. The main con of that one is just that it's like low and you have to get down on your knees to use it, and they're usually obviously like big and bulky. But anything you're using that's
gonna hold wrapping paper is typically kind of big and bulky. The bag that I have for our rolls, I had forever ago. Would I repurchase it? Maybe. Like, it's fine. I typically, if I was buying something new, I'd probably get like the low, shallow under the bed storage. But I do like that it has handles. I love that about it. But most importantly, I love that I already own it. One day I might replace it and put all of our wrapping paper into one bin, but right now it's not a priority for us and it works really well. If you realistically rarely use actual wrapping paper, like if you are a gift bag and tissue paper kind of person, I would 100% suggest just letting go of any wrapping paper you have and just getting something for like gift bags and tissue paper, because it's like so much easier typically to store. Any tote, probably you have one already that would work for you. Cute little basket. A really simple way is really just choosing one big gift bag and having all of the gift bags in that. We have done that for clients. If wrapping paper is not a huge priority and you don't want to go and spend money on storage and you don't have something to hold it, that works just fine. Like, I would say definitely don't overthink it. And then there's the other side of it. If you have a ton of wrapping paper and you love wrapping and gifts are absolutely your love language and you love having a variety of options, then there are obviously so many options for how to organize your wrapping paper if you have like an actual setup. So say you have like a basement craft area or you have like a workbench. I love so many different ideas of having wrapping paper like hanging on the wall. Another big one I've seen, over the door storage. You can get ones that I think are specifically for wrapping paper, but you can get ones that are just for like shoe storage, and you have it over the door and you can have all of your wrapping paper, bags, tissue paper, scissors, everything all in one. I've seen people use, the like basically bag holders. I've used them a million times under the sink storage for holding like plastic bags. But I've seen people use them and like have them basically laying flat, and you put the rolls in and out like that. I love that too. That would be another good option if you only have like 3 or 4 rolls, but you want to keep them protected, is having that like on like a basement like shelf potentially and having them in there. You could also just have it traditional like against the wall somewhere and having all the rolls sit inside of it. Say you have a guest room that has a dresser in it with like nothing in it, it's an empty one. Even just using a dresser and having one drawer of bags, one for wrapping paper if it's big enough, one for tissue paper, and one for all your supplies. That also sounds amazing to me. In the perfect world, all of our wrapping supplies are going to be where we wrap, where we use them. But as always, the most important thing is to only keep what you use, what you love, and find a system that works for you and your family and works for your home. Don't worry about what everyone else is doing. I really encourage you to try not to get like hyped up in the whole like Pinterest ideas and this and that. Really just keep it simple, get it organized, keep it in one spot, and only keep what you're actually using. I hope this gives you some ideas and inspiration. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you like this video, and I will see you next time. Bye guys.